It turns out that yesterday was a red letter day for basically everyone, especially Nvidia and even Microsoft. And there's a couple of things we definitely have to talk about. Number one, it's laundry day, so I have a tank top on. Sorry. And number two, the insane inability for these companies to even understand that the AI bubble is in fact going to burst. And also at the same time, their infatuation with trying to control the gaming space and technology is going to get even worse, because now these companies are spreading into the one place that we thought was safe for everyone: Linux. You see, we've been talking about what's happening in the gaming industry with Steam, AI, Nvidia, Microsoft, and so many others for the past few months. But yesterday was especially egregious with what's been happening, because not only are we watching the actual bubble burst in real time, we're seeing the true ramifications of it happen to the actual gaming space. And even so, watching Microsoft dip 11% in their stock valuation simply because they're focusing more on AI really is an eye-opening thing to see. There's a pun in there, I promise. Because according to Twitter, Microsoft stock drops 11% despite strong earnings beat. The company reported an $81.3 billion in revenue, up 17% year over year, with cloud revenue hitting a record $51.5 billion and Azure growing 39% on AI demand. Still, the stock fell from $483 a share to around $424 amid concerns over Azure growth missing high hopes. A $625 billion future revenue backlog where 45% ties to OpenAI and $37.5 billion in AI spending, raising return questions. Gaming revenue dropped 9% due to weaker Xbox sales and titles, while CEO Satya Nadella stayed upbeat about early AI stages. Watching all of this unfold throughout the day yesterday really put a lot of things into perspective. The massive bubble that every other major company is nonstop investing into is going to in fact burst, as we're even seeing so many other investors literally pull away as people are saying, hold on, you're literally burning money and not gaining any return on it at all. And everything we're seeing is just going on a downward trend. Where are the actual returns? Where's the actual money you promised us? And Microsoft's push into AI is just the beginning of the actual iceberg, because we're seeing other companies as well begin to invest even more into AI too. Because now we're seeing exactly what Microsoft truly believes, and what they are trying to do is push 100% into AI over every other capacity and every other thing that provides any sort of revenue. They're even going around and blaming other avenues of money coming in as to why everything is in fact going down. No, I'm not kidding. According to The Gamer saying this, more bad news for Xbox as Microsoft blames gaming for an annual decline in its PC business. With the article saying this, from frequent price hikes and reduced stock at major retailers to studio closures and mass layoffs, Xbox hasn't fared well this generation. In fact, 2025 marked its worst year on record. Going into 2026, things aren't looking any better. Microsoft posted its Q2 fiscal earnings yesterday, and it reported a 5% decline in Xbox content and services revenue, with a broader 9% drop in gaming revenue. According to The Verge's senior editor Tom Warren, Microsoft blames gaming for the 3% year-over-year decline in its more personal computing business, comprised of Windows, Xbox, and Surface, as the console giant continues to underperform. This is where things for me are going to get really weird, and I think where the gaming industry is going to have a massive problem, especially what we're looking at when it ties to Linux and even Steam. Yes, we're going to connect those dots in just a moment. Trust me. What we're seeing are massive trillion-dollar corporations like Microsoft and Nvidia pump tons of billions of dollars into AI, focusing on that main aspect, and then using every other branch of their own company to inflate whatever money that they can bring in to recycle it back into AI as well and to keep pumping more money into that. Every company is trying to be that one breakout star, even though we've seen already that Microsoft is investing billions of dollars into OpenAI strategically, even though they are in fact a competitor with OpenAI, with Azure, and also Copilot AI as well. So not only are they basically backstabbing each other on a consistent basis, they're also pumping money into each other and not seeing any return whatsoever. And all at the center is going to be Nvidia when this bubble in fact actually bursts and everything completely begins to fall apart. And it is indeed going to be a bubble, because we saw it yesterday as well in the stock market, as so many companies are now falling behind as investors are becoming more skittish, and Microsoft's own stock taking a tumble, a trip, and a fall right down the flight of stairs that everybody pointed out and said, hey, watch your step, and they decided to go ahead and run down that damn thing anyways. We are literally witnessing the entire collapse of trillion-dollar companies not understanding what consumers actually want, while full on knowing what they in fact want, yet at the same time trying to remove every available option of actual home computing for that customer as well, and forcing them into subscription services. But if you think Microsoft and many other companies learned their lesson, clearly they haven't, because they're still pumping more money into AI as well. According to PC Gamer, the AI money merry-go-round shows no signs of stopping as Meta, OpenAI, Nvidia, Amazon, and Microsoft linked to deals worthy nearly of $200 billion. With the article saying this, first up is a report that Meta is planning to double its spending on AI this year to $135 billion. Let's just repeat that figure, $135 billion. It's an incredible amount of money. It's frankly incredible that Meta has that kind of money to spend speculatively on something that currently isn't providing lucrative for anyone apart from the people selling the picks and axes to help you search for the money. But what of OpenAI, Nvidia, Microsoft, and Amazon? Well, the story here is that the latter three are reportedly in talks to invest $60 billion in the former. The breakdown, according to the information via Reuters, is that Nvidia is looking at a $30 billion investment, Amazon up to $20 billion, and Microsoft could be in for the final mere $10 billion. Inevitably, much of this is all very circular. How will OpenAI spend the $60 billion? Surely much of it will go on NVIDIA GPUs, but there is also talk that these deals could involve an expansion of OpenAI's existing cloud server rental deal with Amazon, and likewise enterprise sales of ChatGPT services back to Amazon, presumably with those services quite possibly running on Amazon servers, which could contain NVIDIA GPUs, and well, you get the idea. And actually, PC Gamer isn't wrong about that. We're literally witnessing this in real time. NVIDIA is selling H200 chips to data centers and companies like Microsoft and Meta and etc., going around and then using those data centers and those servers to go through and push their cloud services to you as a customer, but at the same time, raising the prices across every other physical component that you see in real time. Everything from RAM kits to GPUs to NAND flash memory, and now even going to be CPUs as well, restricting the amount of hardware you can actually have. It's all one big cabal where they're all sitting together trying to remove the actual compute power from you as a user and then keep it for themselves, forcing you to be on their cloud infrastructure and services. The fact that Amazon fired a ton of people but then invested a ton of money into OpenAI and are leaning more into Luna itself rather than actually pushing into the PC market trying to compete with Steam, which really nobody knew they were competing with Steam at all. And that's the funniest thing about all of this. They're seeing record growth in their cloud services, just like Microsoft is, just like everybody else is, just like Nvidia is too. And they own the chips that everybody's buying. Yet those chips are powering the data centers that everybody is signing up to. And they're restricting you across every conceivable aspect and board. In fact, it gets even worse because now it turns out that Nvidia is pushing its little tendrils and claws into the one place that we know is actually free of all of this garbage. And that's in Linux. Because also according to PC Gamer, NVIDIA GeForce Now is officially on Linux, and after testing it, I'm equal parts impressed and optimistic for the future of non-Windows gaming. First of all, right off the bat, PC Gamer, I am revoking your PC Gamer card. You're no longer able to talk about what is good for PC gaming and what isn't good, because for the last 4 years, we've already had the best way to game on Linux, and that's thanks to the one and only Gabe Newell and their ability to in fact update Proton on a consistent basis. Linux has been going around and providing a better experience, better frame rates, and better usability for so many games. Hell, a lot of my older games that don't work on Windows literally run out of the box on my Steam Deck on SteamOS and on so many other actual distros of Linux too. I have become an actual Linux advocate because of this little fucking device. And to say something so absolutely ridiculous like you hope for the future of Linux now because NVIDIA GeForce Now is on the actual platform really goes to show A, you guys have never used Linux in the first place for the last few years especially, and B, I can clearly bet that you guys really don't even know much about PC gaming specifically. And that's really where this kind of whole thing rubs me the wrong way. This shouldn't be a good sign for anyone. This, in fact, is a bad sign for people, especially how we saw what NVIDIA has been doing with GeForce Now, restricting the amount of time that's available for you, and then combining that with the ability to go through and remove actual hardware from the consumer by making everything more expensive, and then using all those pieces of hardware to then cycle money back and forth between all those companies who want you to sign up for their online service rather than actually owning anything, goes to show that nobody knows what is happening in this space, especially a place called PC Gamer. And the best part about this tweet by PC Gamer is in fact the replies and them getting cooked because of it. Ironically, streaming from a Windows-based system to a Linux-based system makes you excited for non-Windows gaming? LOL. Fuck off with this streaming game shit. We need official NVIDIA driver support, not streaming bullcrap. NVIDIA GeForce Now is literally the opposite of gaming, and the erroneous latency inherent in NVIDIA's cloud gaming model also makes it the opposite of now. How can you be so optimistic for non-Windows gaming with streaming games? That's like saying you're optimistic with gaming without being able to buy a computer because of all this shit making it expensive because you can pay a subscription to play. Unironically, stupid take. And I am absolutely incredibly happy to see the Linux community stand up to articles and places like PC Gaming. They really don't understand what is in fact happening, and the problem is they're basically just becoming a shell corporation for companies like NVIDIA, Microsoft, and so many others to go around and remove the ability for you to have actual owned hardware and actual owned games inside of your PC. But the real problem isn't what PC Gaming said on their tweet. No, the real problem is NVIDIA extending itself into Linux, basically trying to remove any sort of control that you have as a user. So let's see what this article had to say and go from there. With the article saying this, Linux has not traditionally been the home for gaming, but ever since SteamOS and Proton, it's dramatically improved as a gaming platform. It still hasn't had quite the breadth of game support as Windows though, and it's never had native client support for NVIDIA GeForce Now game streaming, until now that is, as GFN has officially come to Linux, in beta at least. I've been trying it out and it works pretty flawlessly, provided you're on Ubuntu 24.04 LTS and have a GPU that supports Vulkan H.264 or H.264 decoding and are using the correct driver. Unfortunately, Ubuntu is the only officially supported distro for now, although NVIDIA does want to bring it to further ones and is, quote, actively evaluating them. In addition to obviously giving users without powerful rigs, but with a good internet connection, the opportunity to stream games with high-end performance, it should also allow Linux gamers to enjoy games that were previously off limits. For instance, Apex Legends works on GFN, but not on Linux because of its anti-cheat. So you should now be able to play Apex on Linux via GFN. Some games with kernel-level anti-cheat, however, will still be off limits as these haven't been made available on GFN by the developers, Valorant for instance. Okay, right here is where I'm going to get really upset and really angry, because clearly this person has no idea what Linux in fact does, and the actual inability for NVIDIA to even provide proper drivers for Linux distros is the real problem altogether. It's the one big reason, honestly, why I've moved to AMD, because their actual driver support works with Linux in a far better capacity. The problem though is this: instead of fixing the problems with the actual drivers for Linux, NVIDIA is now opting to charge you instead to sign up for a service to play those games. And if it wasn't for Steam and actually working with Proton, we would be in a far worse situation with Linux in the first place. But see, the real concern came to me with that very end piece right there. Oh, if you are dealing with anti-cheat, then you can go ahead and use this instead. How about you can suck my from the back and then lick the because clearly there are so many ways that anti-cheat can in fact be working on Linux directly. It's the fact that Apex Legends developers are choosing not to do anything with Linux and are choosing to not fix their anti-cheat for Linux as well. Same thing with Destiny. Same thing with so many other games. Same thing with games like HighGuard requiring secure boot and TPM support as well. These things are a massive thorn in the backside of users. And the funniest part is I can clearly go back and point to somebody like Microsoft, who is requiring secure boot with Windows 11 when they went ahead and removed Windows 10 support across the board, leaving the gap open for SteamOS to in fact take over on those actual users that don't want to upgrade or can't upgrade because their motherboard doesn't support that kind of hardware. Do you see how this is all interconnected now? Not only are they dumping tons of money into each other, but they're setting each other up for their own success by removing access from you, an actual customer and user of a different platform or different operating system, because they want you to sign up for their actual subscription service model. Oh my God, it gets worse every day. I've heard the criticisms already. How come you always talk about AI, Steam, and NVIDIA, Alex? Well, I don't know, because every day is a brand new step into the hellscape known as not owning anything on your actual computer or even owning a PC altogether. That's probably why. If this would stop, then so would this. But you know what? They keep pushing the line, and they're going to keep pushing the line over and over again because Amazon is doing the exact same thing. They're leaning more onto Luna. We're seeing Meta do the exact same thing, leaning more into AI. And the thing is this, when the AI bubble pops, prices aren't going to go back down. No, they're going to flatline and stay where they are. And by doing that, they're going to cause you to remove the floor of the actual user and then go ahead and raise the price on you and force you into those subservice models. And then at the same time, they're going to try and infiltrate Steam in every capacity, take away those shares, those users, those actual abilities for you to play those games. Oh, you got a Steam machine for Christmas? Great, isn't it so lovely? The thing is though, we at NVIDIA have been working with Microsoft and also other game developers too, and what we're going to do is not support Linux at all. We're not going to support anything on that platform or OS because we have contracted deals with Microsoft and NVIDIA, and that's how things are going to basically go. So sign up for our subscription service model, play our games through their streaming, and you're not going to own jack shit if you want to play new games. Oh, you have 8 gigabytes of VRAM? Guess what? Our games only run off 16 gigabytes of VRAM because that's how we want to sell things. But don't worry, those GPUs cost $1,000. Can't afford it? Here's our subservice model as well. Literally, this is all them being in cahoots with each other. And this isn't me wearing like a tinfoil hat, putting on my Alex Jones, don't drink the water because the frogs kind of a deal. We're talking about actual collusion happening right now in front of us. We're seeing Microsoft pump billions into OpenAI. We're seeing OpenAI buy the chips from NVIDIA. We're seeing everybody else just split money between each other. And the thing is, they're going to use these data centers. They're going to use these fabrication buildings. They're going to use everything they can to then remove the actual access from you that you were supposed to have in the first place. And that's why it's so incredibly important to me to talk about this, because literally in the future, the only thing we're going to be having left in terms of actual computing hardware will more than likely be the Steam Deck or the Steam Machine. And as much as I love what Valve does for the actual consumer, that's a horrifying concept to me. I don't want AMD to be pumping more money into this. They need to be satiating the consumer that is literally being left out to dry. They purposely went ahead and said, we're not going to make high-end hardware. So the opposite should be true. They should be making better low-end hardware to actually satiate those customers that nobody is supporting, especially NVIDIA. But what do they do instead? They dump more money into OpenAI! We are staring down into the abyss of this space where you will not own any hardware. You will own a box, or you will have your phone, and you will stream everything from their data centers that they are in fact building out, that these companies are in fact working together with in collusion to go ahead and charge you a monthly service fee every single time. And they would rather have recurring revenue on small chunks over years rather than actually you buying one product every 5 to 6 years, maybe even longer if you're someone like me. But you know what? This bubble has to pop faster than what we actually expect. And I'm really worried about when it actually does, the actual ramifications of the economy and everything else are going to be in an astronomical level. And it's going to impact more than just video games. It's going to hurt basically everything across the board. My only recommendation to you now is this. If you are thinking about getting a PC, now is the time to do it. Get whatever you can. Find anything secondhand you can. Hold on to it. Repaste your CPUs, check your AIOs, make sure things are working properly, check your power supplies, make sure things aren't corroded. Do whatever you can to keep your equipment in tip-top shape, because I feel like the next 5 to 6 years is going to be incredibly rough for a lot of users, especially in the console gaming space, because when next generation actually hits, get ready, baby. The $1,000 console is going to be hitting us like a ton of bricks, and when it does, that means everything else will increase in price too. Or they'll shove everybody into the online service streaming space, and the people that we're talking about, just buy your games, support the devs, are going to be woken up faster than when Greg Doucette counts to 0 when he goes ahead and tells you to buy his fucking cookbook. But you know what? I want to hear what you guys have to say about this in the comments section down below. Are you building your PC now? Are you trying to find used parts? Are you going to go back to DDR3? I want to hear what you guys have to say. But speaking about what you guys have to say, here in fact is the comment of the day from yesterday's video. Munu M77 said this: "Let's buy all the hammers on the market so that we can sell hammer subscriptions." Munu, that is incredibly apropos for today's video, and it really does make a lot of sense, because that is literally exactly what companies like Nvidia, Microsoft, and so many others are actually trying to do to us. But if you want to be in the comment of the day, I want to hear what you guys have to say, so let me know. If you guys want to see more of this kind of content though, more PC port reviews, gaming news, Steam Deck videos, fanboy content, and even live streams every Saturday night, 8:45 p.m. Eastern, right here on the channel, subscribe. We're on our way to 107K. And if you also want Discord access or emotes during live streams, become a YouTube member. It's as low as $1. If you don't want to spend the buck, don't even sweat it. Just come on down Saturday nights, 8:45 p.m. Eastern, live right here on the channel, as I wear a banana suit and get insulted with AITTS. Every Saturday, 8:45 p.m. Eastern, live right here on the channel. And again, the tank top thing, I'm just a little bit too broke from having to buy Tide Pods so much. Maybe next time. With all that being said though, thank you guys so much for watching. Hope you have a great one, and I'll see you gooners next time. Peace!